Hey guys, back today with another Creating the Crafty Life's Creative Weekly Wisdom. And today I wanted to show you guys something that I've been doing. So I know we all have some Tim Holtz inks. I know we all have some of our ink blenders. And when they first came out, we all were using the square ones, and then they came out with the little mini ink blenders with the round ones. Well, a lot of my inks, how I store them is with my ink pads. I took the little ATC bags, and I actually just put a little bit of adhesive on the bottom and I glued them in there, and then when I'm done I just stick my blending pads in there. But what I've discovered is I really do prefer the mini ones over the big ones, and a little bit frugal sometimes. And so what I've been doing is I have been taking my square pads, and at first I started by putting them on here and trying to cut them out, and they just didn't look as nice. So what I've been doing is I've been taking my square ones around die and running them through my ink or my machine and creating the round pads. So they're not perfect, because I know, like, here's, for comparison, the ones that I've been creating versus the other ones. So you can see there is a size difference, but they are a little bit stretchy, so you can stretch them out a little bit. It would be a little better if my die was just slightly bigger, but unfortunately this is the round die that I have. You may have a die that fits a little bit better. But again, it's not perfect, and eventually I'm going to have to replace these pads because, you know, as you're blending and stuff like that, they do eventually wear out. But until they wear out and I just completely switch them out, that's what I've been doing. So let me show you how I've been doing it. You'll want to keep a paper towel and like a wet wipe handy, especially if it is a used pad, because as you're putting it through your machine and it's pressing, it's going to squish a lot of that ink out. Okay. So I take my die. Now this die is about 1 1/4. And it's just a stitch die. It doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to see the stitches on the inside. And what I do is the black felt part, I put that up. So the ink pad I put down onto my cutting pad, and I take the die and I put that on top. When I do this, I make sure that I'm lining it up side to side, because it is kind of a tight fit. So if you are doing this, if you do have a slightly bigger die, it may not be perfectly round. So just be aware of that. Put my cutting plate on and making sure that it's not shifting as I'm going. And I like to do 2 passes. So I go through, and then as soon as I know it's back, I bring it back, just like that. And I can see the ink there, so I just take wet wipe, wipe that down, pick it up, and I have my die right there. And again, I just wipe the die down, and I do make sure to try and get all the ink off, so when it doesn't transfer to my paper the next time I use it to cut. And I just dry it off, because metal and water, you want to make sure that you're not potentially rusting anything. So then I have this pad and I have this, and it's perfectly round. I do toss out that part because I don't use it. But as you can see, it's not a perfect fit, but it's pretty good, and it's going to allow me to use my mini blenders with that. And then make sure you wipe off your cutting surface, and again, dry it nice and dry. I went through and I did pretty much assembly line of these. And so after I've got that done, just take it, stick it back in there, and I've got my little mini one ready to go. And like I said, I do have a pack of the mini blenders, you know, and they're not that expensive, but you know, it takes a while to break in a blending pad to get enough ink on there, so you know, it's smooth and it's nice over time. So again, just this is a clean pad. I just happen to have a leftover one. And I have tried to cut it this way. I've just found that it doesn't work as well. So again, blending pad, felt up, and I found 2 passes work really well for me with my machine, but I am using the precision plate. There we go. And it's just perfect. I obviously needed a new pad for that picket fence, but there we go. And again, there is a little bit of waste on this, but it's not the end of the world. So I hope you guys enjoyed that tip. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another Creating the Crafty Life's Creative Weekly Wisdom, and I'll see you next time. Bye.